survival advantage. So, what are the sequencing options? Second generation TKI, then followed by third generation TKI, if 790M mutation that I have already discussed. First generation TKI plus anti-angiogenic agents, that is bevacizumab or ramucirumab. Then on progression, you are switching over to osimertinib. That is also possible only if it is 790M mutation. And first generation TKI with chemotherapy combination that I have described in the previous slide, followed by osimertinib if there is T790M mutation. And the final one is, which is widely used right now, osimertinib upfront. So what are the response rates? We can see that as we travel from first generation to third generation, the response rate is increased, PFS is increased, and OS is also increased. Though there is hardly any OS difference between gefitinib, erlotinib, and afatinib. The last one, dacomitinib and osimertinib, which has been shown by the updated study of FLORA and the last update of Archer 1050, they are showing survival benefit. Overall response rate of gefitinib is 71%, median PFS is 9.5%, median OS is around 21.6 months. Erlotinib response rate 58, median PFS 9.7, OS is 19.3 months. Afatinib Lux 3 response rate is 56%, and median PFS is 11.1 months, and median OS is 28.2 months. And afatinib versus gefitinib, though there is a PFS benefit, the response rate of the afatinib is 70%. The OS is not statistically significant, so there is no OS benefit in Lux Lung 7. In the Archer 1050, there is an OS benefit in the updated data presented in JCO. Median OS is 34.1 month compared to the gefitinib arm. And in the FLORA study, we all know that the updated OS is around 38.6 months, and the median PFS is 18.9 months, and there is a response rate of around 80%. So we all know what is FLORA study. The key inclusion criteria was any patient above 18 or above years, WHO performance status of 0 or 1, with the exon 19 or L858R. No prior treatment should be done, or EGFR TKI should not be given previously. And in this study, stable CNS metastasis was allowed, unlike the Archer study, which was excluding the CNS positive cases. The study arm was given 80 milligram of osimertinib, randomized in a 1:1 fashion with the EGFR TKI standard of care. In this study, gefitinib and erlotinib were used in the standard doses. The median, the primary endpoint is PFS based on the investigator assessment according to RECIST 1.1, and the secondary endpoints were objective response rate, duration of the response, disease control rate, and depth of response. And another very important secondary endpoint was overall survival. You can see from the from this hazard ratio that all subgroups were responding. They were all were on the left side of the median. Male hazard ratio is 0.58, females 0.40, above less than 65 years 0.44, more than 65 years 0.49, Asians 0.55, non-Asian 0.34. Smoking history, whether they are smokers or non-smokers, doesn't matter. And the very important thing is that the CNS metastases have got a very good hazard ratio of 0.47, which is really impressive. That shows that the molecule is penetrating to the CNS. And another thing is that whether it is exon 19 or L858R, both were responding very well. And you can see from this slide that osimertinib has got a median PFS of 18.9 months compared to the comparator arm, which was showing a PFS of 10.2. P-value is highly significant. And you can see, this is a very important slide. You can see from this slide that if you are comparing the curves of FLORA study, there is immediate separation between the comparative curve. So here, in the LUX7, if you are comparing the FLORA curves with the LUX7 study where afatinib is used vis-a-vis gefitinib, you can see that the curves were overlapping for almost 1 year, and they are gradually separating, and there is not much separation between the curves. And if you are seeing the ARCHER study, even though they have not included CNS positive cases, you can see that for almost 6 months the curves were overlapping. And in the FLORA study, there is immediate separation, and the curves are getting separated from each other as the time goes. You can see that the patient remains on the study treatment and time to subsequent treatment or death. Time to subsequent treatment is 25.5 months in the osimertinib compared to the comparator arm, which was showing time to subsequent arm treatment is 13.7 months. Here, what is time to subsequent treatment? Even though there is a progression, mild progression, you continue to use osimertinib, local treatment. You are not changing the osimertinib and persisting with the drug. So you will get so that you will get maximum benefit on the drug. So that is the time to the first subsequent treatment. So that will be more than the actual PFS, because in EGFR mutated patients, you can, if you see the management, you can see that you can still use, there is a limited progression, you can still use the drug with some local treatment. If you are seeing the overall survival analysis, the final OS was presented at ESMO 2 years back. That was 38.6 months compared to the comparator arm of 31.8 months. You may say that it is not very impressive, but here the patients were allowed to crossover. There is a actual crossover rate of 31%. That is 85% of the 85 patients of the total 277 were taking osimertinib at a later stage. So to a greater extent, it is been evened out. Still, there is a very impressive, unprecedented 38.6 months overall survival was attained. That means that osimertinib patients were likely to be alive 2 to 2 and 3 years of landmarks, as we can see from these curves. That is, at the end of 2 years, 74% of the patients were alive, and at the end of 3 years, more than half of the patients were alive. That is very remarkable in a case of lung cancer. So, coming to the topic heading of how to sequence. The Archer study suggested that you can start with the second generation dacometinib, and you are getting a PFS of 14.7 months, and then you switch over to subsequent therapies, including osimertinib. And if you are seeing the actual data of Archer 1050, or 10% of the dacometinib patients were receiving osimertinib at a later stage for T790M mutation. That subset was clicking a overall survival landmark of 36.7 months. But the pitfalls in this study is that only 10% of the patients received osimertinib post progression with the dacometinib, and that study actually didn't measure the actual number of T790M mutation. So if you are sequencing dacometinib followed by osimertinib, you are getting an actual survival of 36.7 months, where in FLORA study, 28% of the patients were still alive on osimertinib after 36 months. So they will have an OS benefit of more than 3 years. So the starting with osimertinib still is a better option compared to dacometinib followed by osimertinib. This study I'm skipping because after the Archer final data presented in JCO, there is an actual OS benefit, but it's still not as great as FLORA study. So this criticism is not valid at present. Here also, the phase 3 Archer study excluded a patient with brain metastasis, that we have already said. Although it reported a numeric improvement in OS of 34.1 months for the dacometinib, compared with the 26.6 months, 26.8 months for the geftinib. The trial had a hierarchical stratified design. There are some criticism regarding the OS benefit, but later on it was published that there is an actual OS benefit. Like I said previously, they have shown that the OS is around 34.1 months, which was published afterwards. But there are some criticisms, actual criticism, that you can see from this chart, the PFS analysis. If you are seeing that the non-Asian population, if you are seeing the PFS, the non-Asian population were showing a PFS hazard ratio of 0.89 among the non-Asian. But if you are seeing the OS analysis, the non-Asians were performing better compared to the Asians. So you can see that there is a flip between the PFS and OS between the two subgroups, which you cannot give a logical reason. And if you are seeing the exon 19 mutation compared to the exon 21, you can see that exon 19 PFS wise, exon 19 was faring better. But if you are seeing the OS, exon 19 was faring poorly compared to L58R. So these are some criticism, but still there is an OS benefit. And if you're seeing that in the Archer study, the non-Asian population, actually the exact number, if you are seeing, it is mainly a Japanese and Korean study. So if you are seeing the Archer 1050 population spectrum, the non-Asian population was very less compared to the Flora study. So actually only 49 non-Asian population were there. If you are seeing the Asians, it was 176. And the main topic of again sequencing, afatinib followed by osimertinib. We don't have a direct sequential study, only a real world study and some post analysis of Lux-Lung trials. They were showing an OS benefit of 27.9 months if you are sequencing afatinib followed by osimertinib. Afatinib, osimertinib in the exon 19 subgroup, it is slightly better. Afatinib was alone giving a PFS of 12.7 followed by subsequent treatment, coming to a total of 30.7 months. And the real world GeoTac study, it's a retrospective analysis that included only patients who have used osimertinib for a minimum of 10 months. That was showing 41.3 months, but this being a retrospective analysis, there are some caveats that we will come to that at a later stage. So if I have decided that I am not starting with osimertinib, what I am losing out, that is being described in this slide. Suppose you are starting with either gefitinib and erlotinib and afatinib or afatinib. That means either first generation or second generation. Only 73 to 77 patients receive second line therapy because the rest of the patients, that is roughly 2 out of 10 patients, are losing out due to death or progression. And coming to the rest of the 8 patients, again you are losing out 2 because on further progression there is no tissue available for biopsy for T790M mutation, and or there is insufficient material available, or there is an invalid test result, or there is a false positive circulating tumor cells analysis, that is plasma test. So again you are losing out 2 patients, and if you are starting with 10, 6 are remaining to receive to do that T790M mutation. Again, you out of this 6, 3 are being lost out due to T790M negative test, and rest 3 are going to receive osimertinib. So roughly 3 out of 10 patients are going to receive osimertinib in the end. So that is the drawback of not starting with osimertinib. Most of the patients might lose out due to either death or progression or a negative, false negative T790M mutation, or there is insufficient test available to do a T790M mutation, and then you have to either go to chemotherapy, or you have to use osimertinib without a T790M mutation positive. Real world studies have shown that the Japanese study, 43% of the patients progressing on afatinib are T790M mutation positive. you cannot predict who are going to get T790M mutation from either the baseline characteristics of age or performance status. In the Taiwanese study, 48% of the 42 patients who were rebiopsied after afatinib failure have acquired a T790M mutation, and 64% of the patients were initially positive, and 45% were 858 R positive. So this slide is saying that majority of the progression on afatinib are T790M mutation, but still you cannot predict who are going to get T790M mutation. And that means not all patients are going to get benefit from afatinib followed by osimertinib if you are using T790M mutation as the criteria for using osimertinib in the second line. Osimertinib in the first line, all patients will get a chance to get exposed to osimertinib so that maximum OS can be achieved. So this is the drawbacks of the GEOTAC study based on afatinib. Upfront, it is a retrospective study. Observational analysis excluded patients who were T790M negative patients or in whom T790M mutation was not tested, and they excluded patients who died on first line afatinib, and they excluded patients who could not receive the second line treatment. TTF cannot be compared to PFS and includes patients beyond disease progression, and the OS in this study was only exploratory. And another criticism of GEOTAC study is that it has got a higher incidence of deletion 19, and it was mandatory that at least 10 months of osimertinib was used in this population, but in practical life, you may or may not get the chance to use osimertinib that long. So the conclusion is that it is not possible to draw conclusions about relative benefits of sequential afatinib followed by osimertinib versus first line osimertinib without a direct head-to-head comparison trial. So this is a single slide which is showing all the EGFR mutation studies and the agents tried this till this date. You can start with Archer 1050, decapitinib versus gefitinib. 41% of the decapitinib ultimately received subsequent treatment, and 9.7 of the patients received osimertinib after decapitinib. In the Lux 7, afatinib versus gefitinib, 72.6% of the patients received subsequent treatment. 5.6% of the patients received osimertinib after afatinib. In the Lux 3 and 6, 62.6% of the patients received afatinib received subsequent treatment post progression. And in the coming to the FLORA study, in the last one, osimertinib versus gefitinib over erlotinib, 47% of the osimertinib arm received further treatment, which is mainly cytotoxic chemotherapy, and 65% of the patients in the gefitinib or erlotinib arm received second line, which can be either osimertinib or chemotherapy. If you are seeing the comparator arm of the FLORA study, 31% of the patients receive osimertinib in the comparator arm, that is gefitinib or erlotinib, after progression on these agents. So this is an important slide. You can see from this slide, it's a very difficult to understand kind of slide, but if you're seeing carefully, you can see from this slide that 31% of the osimertinib arm and 30% of the EGFR TKI comparator arm did not go on to receive any further lines of anti-cancer treatment in the FLORA study. So in the first block, osimertinib, the area shaded by military green, that is 31%, no subsequent anti-cancer treatment received. And if you are seeing the third block, the comparator arm, again 30% of the patient in the military green didn't receive any subsequent anti-cancer treatment. But what about the maroon color? They received first line anti-cancer treatment, and that the deep blue color that was showing that the patient was still on the study treatment. And coming to the second and fourth blocks, you can see from the blocks that it is mainly denoting first subsequent treatment. FST is first subsequent treatment. So in the osimertinib arm, the first subsequent treatment was mainly cytotoxic chemotherapy that everybody knows. Further, after a third line, it will not respond to first line agents. What about the 29%? They in fact received other EGFR TKIs. And coming to the fourth block, that is first subsequent treatment of the comparator arm of the FLORA study, that is those who have first received gefitinib or erlotinib. Their first subsequent treatment was 47% of the patient received osimertinib after progression on gefitinib or erlotinib, and 22% of the patients received cytotoxic chemotherapy. So that was the description of FLORA study. And what are the conclusions derived from the FLORA study and today's presentation is that from the first line, when you start the first line, those who are getting T790M resistance after progression cannot be predicted. So you cannot say if you are starting with the first or second generation TKI, who are going to get benefited by osimertinib, because right now the recommendation is that if you have got a T790M mutation, you can use osimertinib in the subsequent lines. And the second bullet point is that not all patients receive second line and subsequent lines of treatment. That we have seen in that 10 patient diagram, that many patients were losing out on every stage. So ultimately the patients who are alive or who are in a good health status to receive osimertinib in subsequent lines will be less and cannot be predicted. Osimertinib and dacometinib are the agents currently available who has gotten meaningful OS benefit. When these slides were prepared, the final analysis of Archer 1050 was not published. Later on, it was shown that osimertinib and dacometinib have got meaningful OS benefits. The PFS and OS benefit is seen with osimertinib in the FLORA study is much more impressive than the PFS and OS benefit of Archer study and previous second generation and first generation studies. And more important, osimertinib is much more tolerable, with less serious side effects compared to dacometinib. Dacometinib, if you are seeing the Archer study, 87% of the patients were having diarrhea or GI side effects. And a great percent of the patient, around more than 60% of the patients were having paronychia, and around 60%, more than 50% of the patients of dacometinib arm in the ARCHES study were having grade 3 diarrhea requiring a dose correction. And if you are seeing the FLORA study, Tagrisso is much more well tolerated, giving much less grade 3 toxicities, and you may not need a dose correction in most of the patients. Giving the best drug as an upfront treatment is the best optimal strategy for targeted treatment, whether it is EGFR mutated patients or ALK positive lung cancers. So your best player should come as an opener, so that maximum OS is achieved, so that every patient has got an opportunity to get the benefit of the best player available. So that is the final slide. Thanks for listening. If you have got any questions, I'll be happy to answer.